-1.
I kicked myself out.
Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Morning Sports Podcast. I hope everybody's having a fine Sunday, which has been time, Spring Forward Sunday. Spring Forward Sunday, people.
I love this day. Love this day.
Yeah.
More sunlight.
Fortunately, for this time and age, technology is really good. It catches up, it catches the clocks up for you so you don't have to change because I wouldn't have changed it, let me tell you. Hey, we had some really good sports news this week. Well, we don't ever have, right? The first thing is the big news coming out of Vegas. Max Crosby gets traded to the Ravens for 2 first-round picks. How do you guys feel about that whole situation? That's pretty surprising, at least to Chicago it was.
I'm sure this goes again. The Ravens don't usually make this kind of move, so I think they feel some sense of urgency to get something done while Lamar Jackson's still a fairly young man, and I think it's a good move for them. Anybody that would have brought this guy in, because he's so talented, I think would have obviously improved their team. Now you can debate whether he's worth 2 first-round draft picks, I suppose, but I think it's a good move for the Ravens. In that division, this is a big move.
We get caught up in these draft picks, but basically it comes down to this. 2 players for 1 player. Max Crosby is probably worth any 2 players you could get in the draft. Probably, not definitely. You don't know how it's going to work out the 14th overall pick. And I'm going to tell you, the Ravens have a good team. So next year, you have to figure that second number 1 pick is going to be in the 20s. Let's say it's 22. I'm just throwing a number out of a hat. And to the 14th and 22nd pick, maybe the Ravens are going to get the better deal. Maybe the Raiders are. The Raiders had to do something, and that's about as good a deal as they could get. So sometimes there's not a winner or loser. Sometimes both teams, it's kind of a wash in a sense. Let's see who falls to the Raiders at number 14. Let's see who they got next year. And it might take years to evaluate this deal, but I'll tell you this. It's worth making this deal for the Ravens because Max Crosby is a force. And he could be the difference between getting him over the top and not. We don't know that about the draft choices that the Raiders are going to get.
I don't know, Jack. I think that the Raiders might have the upper hand on this deal because you just gave away an asset, but an asset that can, be injury prone sometimes. And the Ravens weren't all that great last year. And as a matter of fact, they got pick 14. Pick 14 is not that bad. And who's to say with new coaching, new regime, changes, maybe Lamar Jackson's aging a little bit. I don't know for sure. He seemed a little injury prone himself. We don't know where they may be this season to place their 2027 draft. And so, time will tell. But for right now, I'm going to give it to the Raiders. I think they have the upper hand here. And they're built, first of all, they have the number 1 pick. They got their quarterback. And secondly, they got a second first-round draft pick. They can either get him a weapon, get him another offensive lineman, get a running back. If another running back outside of Love is first-round worthy, but I would say still, 2 first-round draft picks. That it depends on how Lamar and company bounce back. I don't know if they're going to bounce back. With new coaching. Jesse Mentor is excellent defensive coordinator. I think he's going to be a good defensive coach, but there's still a relatively unknown idea or entity as Baltimore Ravens with a whole new coaching regime. We'll see how they mix.
James, I think they want to return to that defensive mindset that this team has been known for since, they won a Super Bowl that way, which seems like 25 years ago now? Oh, my gosh. But there's one thing, too, with the Raiders, too, where it's addition by subtraction because you got a guy who doesn't want to be there. So I think you always win in that regard. He's a great player, but if you don't want to be there, you're not going to be giving the most positive.
They had to make the deal, Keith. They had to make the deal. I understand that. But are the Raiders better off? If they had a happy Max Crosby, if he wasn't unhappy, the Raiders never make this deal. And why don't they make this deal? It's because he's too valuable, Max Crosby, to trade for a couple of draft choices. They made the best deal they could, and they did what they had to do under the circumstances.
We talked about the other day, Jack, a little bit too, that in these kind of trades, we don't know who's going to win it because, for a while because the draft picks they're prospects. We don't know how prospects will turn out ever. 14th pick would seem to be, as James said, a pretty good spot for them. I don't think they'll improve a running back because I don't know how you can take a running back. First of all, they're not going to get Love. And the next running back's projected like at end of the second round, maybe his teammate.
Well, they got Gente, so why would they get that?
And they have Gente, right? You just drafted
him. But they could take a receiver though, maybe like Jordan Tyson or Mekhi Lemon. They can get one of those guys there.
I think that's probably where they go. Probably with that.
Yeah.
Or I mean, they could use the 2 draft picks to get another player. Trade for another player. Yeah, that could be a possibility too. AJ Brown is still out there. Just saying.
True.
I'm not saying they're going to get AJ Brown out.
And I'm going to tell you what I object to what these teams do is build a team around the quarterback. Unless it's a Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen is fine. You build a team around him. But when I see a team like the Tennessee Titans, all this talk, let's accommodate Cam Ward, build a team around him. You know what's going to happen? A few years from now, you're going to come to the conclusion Cam Ward's not quite your guy. He's might be the next Jameis Winston minus the pick sixes. But you only build your team around an established player. The Ravens, I understand. If they tried to build it around Lamar Jackson, he's established. But we don't even know what Lamar Jackson, his contract situation. You want a prediction? Lamar Jackson might make things so difficult on the Ravens. I'm going to predict now 2 years from now, he won't be the Raven quarterback. How's that? 2 years from now, because he's going to make the contract situation so difficult on them that they just won't want to accommodate him.
But they did re-sign Tyler Huntley.
No, he won't be the quarterback. Please, no.
No, Jack, that's not what I'm implying. I'm just saying they re-signed Tyler Huntley. And stop doing a negative about Cam Ward. Maybe Cam Ward turns out to be the next best thing.
Cam Ward, you move forward with him, but there's no evidence that he's going to be an elite quarterback.
Well, there's no evidence.
Don't tell me what he did at the combine, said he threw across his body and made a highlight reel throw.
There's no evidence Fernando Mendoza will be a top flight quarterback either. These are all crapshoots. That's why I keep telling you guys.
That's why you don't build a team around the quarterback unless he's absolutely proven and you know he's the real thing.
But you're not going to have a quarterback that's proven if he's a rookie.
Right.
I mean, it at least takes three years to see that in any player that's coming out of the draft.
It's certain guys like Joe Burrow who come out of college, you know how good he's going to be. You know, Peyton Manning, you know these guys are virtual sure things, but Cam Ward doesn't fall into that category.
I disagree with that.
I do too. I'm sorry, Jay, but I've been hard on Cam Ward, and I watched him play every game that his senior year in college. And he's got faults, and he hasn't done a great job of correcting them in his year one, but he can't give up on these guys.
I didn't say give up on them. Don't build a darn team around them. That's all I'm saying.
Why not? That's what you picked.
You're saying he's not good enough to count on to build.
No, you don't know for sure. Robert Saleh, the head coach, has got to pick the best players. He can't if he has someone there like Reese, okay, Bain, Bailey available to take. Don't look towards Jordan Tyson because Cam Ward needs a weapon. If you want to take a guy like Jordan Tyson, take him if you think he's the best player. But don't take him because your quarterback needs his security blanket.
Sir, let me see your resume when I'm trying to hire a GM, and so I can just rip it right in your face and just eat it up and just be like, what? Come on, man. There's no – first of all, Cam Ward was picked number 1 overall. That is the ultimate investment. That's the guy you got to invest in. You got to build around to see what you have in the first 5 years or so. That way, you know, you have a semblance of an idea of what you're going to have. There's no way. And I get it. They picked him number 1. He was dominant at Miami. He was dominant in Incarnate Word. He was dominant at Temple. He played great at all those schools. He kept going. I look at the numbers. I look at everything he's done. He's a journeyman, but he's a journeyman with some serious numbers at quarterback. I don't know all his weapons that were at that school, but he played out of his mind. Like Keith said, he has some things to correct, but they're correctable. And I think ultimately you got to see what you have. So you got to put weapons around the guy.
But you don't sacrifice your team. Look at all the quarterbacks in college, especially recent years, who went number 1 and number 2 in the draft. Some have been successful, some haven't been. I mentioned Jameis Winston before. He went number 1. Marcus Mariota went number 2. Didn't work out. Imagine building a team around him. Mitch Trubisky went very early in the draft. Imagine building a team around him. There have been other guys. Baker Mayfield went number 1 in the draft. Okay, so Cleveland 4 years, but you don't build a team around him. It didn't work out long term. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Now, if you could get a guy like Trinidad Chambliss, I'd make an exception for a guy like him. With all his talent.
I'm going to mute my side here.
All your credibility again, Jack. Jeez, you know what, Sam? On both sides of this argument,
from last year, Jack.
Once you've made that investment, and I keep saying, don't draft quarterbacks number 1. I keep saying that, right? Because now you are stuck with that guy in a way, and you need other players. And again, they don't win. I've said this forever. 3 of them. Another stat I heard the other day: 3 number 1 picks since 1970. Have won Super Bowls. Number 1, not the first round, the number 1 pick overall with quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl. I keep throwing all these different numbers out. You need a number. I understand first round quarterbacks win, but once you make the investment, if you make that mistake or whatever you want to call it, and take a Cam Ward or a Caleb Williams or whoever it is, you have to give him tools and weapons to work with. You're making your team better. You're not just catering to your quarterback. You're making the team better by making the quarterback better. You have to do that once you've made that investment. And
like you said, look what happened with Caleb Williams. They drafted Roma Dunze and Luther Burden III. Colston Loveland.
But they were the best. If they're the best players available, fine, you take them. Dunze was real good. A number of teams would have wanted him. He was projected to maybe even go higher than I think he went number 9. He was projected to even go a little higher than that. I'm not against the receivers. By all means, you take them if they're the best player there. What I'm saying, you don't build your whole team around an unproven quarterback with potential unless he's a generational talent like a Peyton Manning coming out of the draft. Trevor Lawrence was thought to be a generational talent. I would have built around him. As it turned out, he's not a generational talent. But my mindset would have been to accommodate Trevor Lawrence because he was a unique player at the time. I thought
Peyton Manning didn't come out great out the gate. No, he had the most interceptions in the league.
I'm not talking about what he actually did, what he was projected to be when he was coming out of college, not what he did in the beginning.
I guarantee you, if we were doing this show at the end of Peyton Manning's first season, we're having the same show talking about quarterbacks, we'd be talking about Peyton Manning the same way you're talking about Cam Ward. I guarantee you would be.
No, I wouldn't have. We knew how good Peyton Manning was. Cam Ward went number 1 overall because there was a weak quarterback class. okay, to pick from. If Cam Ward was coming out next year with the quarterback class coming out, I mean, where might he be taken? He may have been taken third or fourth.
There wasn't great quarterbacks that came out with Manning either, by the way, as it turned out.
Well,
Manning didn't even win the Heisman. He got beat out by a defensive player for us.
Right.
And he was known for not winning the big. Let me say this: he was known for not winning the big game in college. That was the only knock that he had on him, for not winning the big game. And when he also when they played, you know who his running back was his rookie year? If you probably can tell me who was his running back his rookie year. Yeah, of course. Come on, man. Cam Ward don't have that. I'm just saying,
you give it to him if Love is available to be taken. I can understand, and it's a toss-up between Love, one of the great players on defense that's going to be available for the Titans at number 4. I understand you take Love. I mean, he's virtually an equal talent to, whoever else is going to be in the draft, just about. I'm all good with that. You're not shying away from helping your quarterback. All factors equal, you want to help them. But if you clearly have someone you like more on defense, you don't overlook them. Like I mentioned, Bailey, Reese, Bain. If you're Salon, you really love those 3 guys. Do you take someone on offense just to accommodate, Cam Ward?
I'm just going to say to you right now, there's a lot of people that actually have their top 10 list of players like that are best available, and none of those defensive guys are generational talent. There's nobody on there that speaks somebody who's a great defensive player we can name in history that
Bailey's going to be
good. They're all going to be good. They're going to be good, but there's no guarantee they're going to be elite great. There's no generational talent sitting there just saying, I know I got to have that guy, where everybody's fighting to get up in the top 5 to get him. There's nobody like that. That's why I say, if anything, most of the guys have Love projected as the number 1 talent coming out of this draft. Jeremiah Love. I mean, above Fernando Mendoza, above Arvell Reese, above all of those guys. And so it's just, again, above Bain, Mr. Tyrannosaurus Rex arms himself. So, I mean, it's just, I'm not saying that you don't take any of these guys, but I'm just saying.
That's correct. James has to be a little more open-minded, but that's cool. James is set in his ways, but whatever.
I mean, I'm pretty much open-minded, but I mean, I'm looking at the talent list. I'm just saying, I'm going to take best available if I'm, but at the same time, I have to consider my quarterback.
Let me do
because ultimately the quarterback could either make or break my career as a coach. That's another thing you got to consider.
Hey, let me do a comparison. Let's say Love is the next Saquon Barkley, and let's say Bailey's the next Chris Jones. Who would you rather have, Saquon Barkley or Chris Jones?
I've heard you say this comparison to Chris Jones. I don't see Chris Jones. Chris Jones is more of an interior 3 technique. Bailey's an edge.
Bailey's versatile.
Yeah, but he's more outside. He's going to be an edge guy. I would say, but if I had to choose between those two, I guess it depends on where the situation I was in. If I'm a first time, not a first time head coach, but if I'm a coach coming to this team with a second year quarterback that was taken number 1 overall, I don't want a situation like Bryce Young. I want a situation where let's make sure this quarterback is successful. Like I said, because this guy can make or break my career if I don't put the best things in place for him to succeed.
You can't ask that question either. You can't ask that question in a vacuum, though. As James said, Barkley or Jones or whomever, it all depends on the situation, your personal needs, your philosophy, all that matters. You can't just ask the question, say, who'd you rather have, not knowing who else we're talking about on those teams or running those teams. Because personally, right now, I'd like to have Chris Jones more than Barkley if I were running the team I want to run.
I mean, if you're a team that's building in the trenches, yes, you definitely will want a Chris Jones-like player, because that's where you should start building from, is the trenches out.
100%.
But the guy in the middle there now, Jeffrey, is more who I compare to Jones, the big guy they got in the middle in Tennessee. What's his name? Jeffrey. I forgot the kid. He's an all-pro. I forgot. I can't think of it.
S. I have a brain cramp. S is his last name starts with. Unbelievable.
Yes, you
and I together, we have brain freeze.
Simmons?
Right.
Simmons, yeah.
Simmons, yes.
There you go.
Jeffrey Simmons is a dominant monster in the middle. And so, I could see putting a Bailey right next to him. But
that would be awesome.
I can see that.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Never big. Never. Anyway,
who was that?
Tomorrow starts the opening of legally tampering for the free agency, and Wednesday, of course, is the opening of free agency. So, we're gonna see a whole bunch of changes going on here.
Legally tampering.
I guarantee they've been tampering already, sir.
Oh,
it's been going on this past week.
Trading for putting 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby when they can't do that stuff until Wednesday. Come on.
Right.
Anyway,
the legal tampering.
Legal tampering period. Okay.
Well, put that back. So leave that for a little while, and that doesn't happen that often. I made a good point.
You did. You made good points. Jack makes good points. James makes good points. I just sit here and mediate. Anyway, we have it's March Madness is coming up, and this is another important sports thing going on. Hey, number 1 Duke got their revenge over number 17 UNC last night. They looked really good too. It's going to be a hard team to be messing with in the tournament. That's for sure.
Undefeated at home, that won't matter in the tournament, obviously. But Jon Scheyer's got this team playing great. He's won more games in his first 4 years than any coach in college basketball history. Jon Scheyer, he's really taken the mantle in a very difficult situation, maybe the greatest coach in college basketball history, and he's kept this team going in the right direction. And the ACC, people think the ACC's down. The ACC's actually not that bad this year. Not that bad. The league is pretty deep. There's some bad teams at the bottom, which kind of drag it down a little bit. But when people want to compare it really badly with the SEC and the Big 10 and the Big 12, but it's not. It's pretty good at the top, and they're going to get quite a few selections here. I like Duke's chances here. They're obviously a number 1 seed, and it's going to be fun to watch what they do. I like Jon Scheyer, but he's done a lot. You're
creating a narrative that didn't exist. You make it seem like Jon Scheyer took over a team that was in turmoil, rebuilding. They gotten to the Final Four. The year before he took over a Final Four team that was in place and ready to roll. I mean, he's done a good job. But don't make it seem like he's taken a program over and brought him all the way up from the bottom.
First of all, I didn't say that. So when you mute yourself, just mute your mic, not your ears, because I said he had a tough situation taking over for maybe the greatest coach in history. That's not easy, and other guys have failed. Look at the struggles Hubert Davis has had taking over a good North Carolina program, too.
Hubert Davis has had some success. I mean, he hasn't been a washout, but
he hasn't had Jon Scheyer's success, I can tell you. And Coach
K picked Jon Scheyer. That's his guy. Coach K wasn't going to let Jon Scheyer fail. That was his hand-picked guy.
I can say the same thing about Hubert Davis at North Carolina. I can say the same thing, and they have not had the same level of success. And Hubert Davis has been talked about being on the chopping block several times in the last couple of years. Jon Scheyer's never been in that situation.
Well, after yesterday's game, his job, I have to believe, is in at least some danger.
And he's had a pretty good year, really. Davis?
Yeah, they're still going to make the tournament. I would say, look, I agree with Keith to the degree that changing of guards, it can be shaky. It can be trivial. You're not sure if you're going to get the same recruiting that this coach did. And then you got to live up to expectations. I mean, look at Alabama, Nick Saban football, and the coach that took over. It looked like they were going to fail at one point. I mean, and then ultimately they had to turn things around. But I just think it's just sometimes difficult. You're not sure. I mean, name alone cannot be your keys to your success. And I think that he's 4 seasons in now, and so he's doing a really good job. Again, they're number one, and they have a great shot at
and the best player in the country, probably.
Yeah. And I was that was my next question is Cameron Boozer. Do you think he's consensus number one in the draft?
Well, not Cameron, because he's kind of old now, but his son, yes.
I mean, no, not Carlos, not Carlos, but Cameron. I mean, which is?
I'm the one who's wrong.
Yeah,
sorry, I heard.
In most of the NBA drafts I've seen so far, that's projected he's number one.
He probably will be. Yeah.
He was projected as going third for a while, and things have been changing lately.
Well, yeah, because Duke has been doing a lot better. He's been playing a lot better too.
Man, he dropped 26 on North Carolina
last month.
Yeah, they took that. They took that. They took that win like a personal vendetta.
Oh, it's always personal.
How much success, but how much success have these Duke players, all in all, been on the NBA level as far as living up to expectations?
Not much.
They haven't really. Christian Laettner was basically a washout. He played 12 years, but he wasn't good. Zion Williamson.
He wasn't a bad player, but he wasn't a great player.
No, but one of the greatest college players in history for what he gave you in the NBA was a big disappointment. Zion Williams, big disappointment. Even though he's a good player now and his career's not over, big disappointment. And even Grant Hill, who's a Hall of Famer, I question whether he should have even been a Hall of Famer, Grant Hill. I think he was a bit hyped up when he was in the NBA.
No, Jack.
He's a great player.
Circumstance have occurred.
Hey, Jack, don't start. None won't be none. Because
let me tell you, circumstance occurred for the biggest circumstance for the Duke player in regards to Grant Hill is injury. That was the biggest circumstance. 100%. Other than that guy was super talented.
Oh,
he was man. Talent, but he when you talk about the great NBA players, Grant Hill's name doesn't come in the equation.
That's because what could have been. It's more so what could have been due to circumstance. It wasn't because of talent.
He's been hurt,
and it's also what could have been. I mean, put the burgers down. I mean, I think that's the situation with him because he is super talented. You can see it when he plays, man.
Grant Hill was much better than Zion Williamson healthy. I don't think it's a fair comparison to say they're the same player when they were healthy. Grant Hill was better
too.
And different positions.
I'm not sure about that when both of them would have been completely healthy in their prime.
I think they're both different. I think there's a lot of differences there, but they both had great elite traits to get to where they could possibly get. It's just unfortunate.
I'm gonna put it to you this way. I've seen I would say that the two best players that I've seen during Michael Jordan's era play against Michael Jordan is AI and Grant Hill. I've seen Grant Hill cross over Michael Jordan so many times. I think he was killing Michael Jordan. And
he's right. He played in Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah. He's hard. It's hard to do that. And AI did the same thing. Those are tremendous basketball players. You just can't. Come on. I'm not a Duke fan, but Grant Hill is one of the greatest players to come out of Duke.
Yes. Just telling you, since you brought the subject of who translated well outside of, into the pros. Yeah.
I hate to say it, Kyrie Irving, by the way, did translate.
Oh, without a doubt, man. I mean, again, unfortunately, another guy probably could have been elevated his career level had he not been injury prone as well, and also, other
issues too.
Oh my God, who's this guy?
JJ Redick.
You're funny. Now he was a great role player. JJ and JJ. He's elite here. He's very elite here.
Yeah, he's done a good job as like a coach all in all. I mean, I got to give him credit.
We are getting to the point too that wins and losses matter in these tournaments, and two of the top 10 schools lost yesterday. One being Marquette upsets UConn 68, number 4 UConn 68-62. Marquette's always played tough though. They're a tough little school.
Number one seed's gone for Connecticut with that loss. That Marquette's had a bad season.
They were 11-16.
Yeah, they're terrible this year. Shaka Smart's done a great job, but that program is not up to its standards. You can't be losing to there. St. John's is going to be. They're going to win the Big East for the first 2 times in a row for the first time ever. And I think UConn loses that number one seed now to Florida, unless Florida falls on their face here in the tournament and their tournament.
Yeah, St. John's are what? They're rated like 18th in the nation. I don't think anyone else could have done the job that Rick Pitino did with St. John's.
Did a great job. That's going to be a fun tournament. Yeah. It's going to come down to UConn and St. John's probably for the third time. A third game this year. If UConn wins out, they still could get that number one seed, but they probably have to win the tournament now, the Big East tournament, to get that number one seed.
The other upset of the day was BYU over number 10 Texas Tech, 82-76. Wow. Well, BYU has actually been playing pretty well.
Actually, they've been slumping. They lost their best player here a couple of weeks ago, and they played horrendously for the better part of 3 weeks because they were in the top 10 for quite a while. That's a big win for BYU because they were heading towards the bubble if they were to go out like in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. So that's a huge win for BYU. They've had a great season up until recently. And who knows how the committee looks at these teams, right? Who's playing well right now? BYU could be out because if they had lost this team badly, and a great season might have been washed away with no bid because we want to take Auburn at 16 and 15 out of the SEC.
Other teams in the top 10 that played yesterday. Number 7 Houston beat Oklahoma 82-75. Oklahoma State 82-75. We also had, let's see here, number 6 Iowa beat Arizona 86-65. It destroyed them. Also, number 14 Kansas beat Kansas State 104-85. Kansas has been pretty much balling too, and this team that we've been talking about a lot, Florida. They beat Kentucky 84-77.
Hottest team in the country, Florida. Playing great basketball. They can shoot. Unlike some of these other teams, they have trouble shooting. Arizona, for instance, can't make a basket, outside of 10 feet, it seems some nights. But Florida can shoot the three, and they play good defense. And Todd Golden is a very underrated coach for having won the national championship last year. They may go back-to-back. This is a team that's really, really hot. Kansas, just real quickly, they're such a Jekyll and Hyde team. They've been really, really good at times this year and really, really bad at times. But they could get on a 6-game run in the tournament and get to the Final Four. So
that's what I want to ask. Do you think Florida really has a good chance to repeat?
I do.
Yeah,
I think we're brainwashed to an extent always with the NCAA tournament with the one and done, one game you're out. Imagine the NBA playoffs were exactly the same way, 1 game elimination. Can you imagine who the different NBA champions would be?
Yeah, Knicks could have got hot for 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, Shaq and Kobe's Lakers, they lost the opening game to the Sixers. Imagine that was in an NCAA playoff tournament. They'd be out of the tournament.
Yeah, you're right.
Who's Big Mac? Who is Big Mac there? Or is it Big? What's
whatever his name? Yeah,
Big Mac. What? I don't know. He doesn't like Todd Golden. What's not like to like about Todd Golden? Jeez.
So you don't like the Florida.
I don't think he likes anything.
No.
I don't think he likes anybody.
I think he likes you, James. I'm not sure.
I don't think he likes James too much.
He doesn't know that your shoe size is 160. He doesn't know that.
So. So the games for today in the top 10, number 8 Michigan State's going to number 3 Michigan to play. That's going to be an important game in that conference.
Wait, Brian, what did tickets go for? You're from Michigan. What did tickets go for if you wanted to go to that game?
You guys had me log on to the Michigan website because I haven't been to a Michigan basketball game.
No, I know you're looking at the cheap seats, Brian. I get it. What's the cheapest seat to get into the arena?
You got to get in the arena first. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
because it's they always sell out now. Especially they're going to be selling out now just because they're winning real big. So let's see, basketball. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, because I know this. Like I was looking up when I was in Florida, Miami Heat game in Florida Atlantic, and the college game was about 3 times more to get into. I was like stunned, more than the NBA game.
It's a big game today too. I mean, Michigan State theoretically play themselves into a number one talk for a number 1 seed here if they were to win out.
And Brian woke up this morning a little stunned because his Detroit Pistons had a 23-point lead in the second half over the Brooklyn Nets, and the Nets.
Yeah, we're getting to that, Jack.
At Detroit. Oh, I'm sorry.
We're getting to that, Jack.
Subliminally, he's been mentioning it the whole time with his sweatshirt.
He's been waiting.
He's been waiting
to jump on that the whole game because the Nets are here. He's just been waiting to jump on that whole situation.
Well, he only gets wins once a month with the Nets. So
from what I see from Geek Seat, they had from $190 are ticket prices.
That's not terrible.
No, you want to get in enough.
Given today's market, that's not.
That's a cheap seat. Yeah, no, 190 is the start of the cheap seat. Yeah. So there you go. Also, number 9 Nebraska's taking on Iowa. Number 2 Arizona. They played yesterday as well, and they beat Colorado 89-79. And let's see, that's about that's it for the basketball for today as far as college basketball is concerned.
Can I just throw one thing at you guys just with college right before we get off the topic? I was talking with my son-in-laws about this yesterday, the philosophy about players not staying 4 years in college, getting all this NIL money. What do you think of having a law that they get all this money over 4 years? They're given a small amount to help out their families, hardship while they're in school. But if they don't stay to 4 years, they don't get any of the money. If they stay to 4 years, it adds up with interest, and they get, the big sum of money. Obviously, a player getting $6 million a year, that'll turn into with interest about $30 million or so a year at the end of 4 years. But to kind of change the landscape and see that players stay in school longer, it could only be under the condition that they stay in school the whole time and the money adds up and they get it at the end.
Were you on the committee Friday talking about this, Jack? I didn't miss
No, because the committee's going on right now. That's why I think it's newsworthy.
Well, they did
come up with some type of solution, because you yourself, Keith, have been saying over and over, it's not the same as it used to be. Like we're talking before the Big East. We knew all the players in the Big East in the past. They were there for 4 years. We don't know the players the same way now. They come and go.
You get to the Big East.
They're 1 year, maybe 2 years at most.
I could tell you the starting five like in the Big East years ago for like every team in the tournament, for crying out loud. And now I can name one player if I'm lucky without doing some research. So it's hard.
Okay, so I got to get to the nut and bolts of this. This topic. When most guys go to college, I mean, if let's take athletics out, let's go academics. When most people go to college, they go there to get higher learning. They go there to get a degree. They go there to have. You're right, exactly, to improve their lifestyle, their livelihood, and have set off for careers. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about sports, athletes, these guys are coming in. These guys are already blue collar. They're really not in school to be in school. They're not in school to be, and the coaches and the ADs know this. They already know this. They are not trying to make sure that these guys continue their livelihood in academics. Unless you're the guy that's not going to make it, you probably should be focused on that. But if you're someone that's a lottery pick, projected, why would I want to stay in school 4 years? Why would I want to stay there? Now, the one and done thing, I think that's to me, if you're going to do one and done, you might as well do high school again. You might as well do the high school thing again. I think 2 years should be the limit. I think 2 years should be suffice to at least keep the guys. But 4 years, Jack, that's most of these guys aren't getting degrees. I'm just telling you right now.
Let them leave early, but if they leave, they can leave early. If you leave early to go to the NBA or NFL, fine. You just don't get the college money. That's the point I'm trying to say. leave early, do whatever the heck you want, but it's an incentive to stay. They get, the money is paid at the end, and if you don't stay the full 4 years, you don't get the money.
That's not going to work. I'm just telling you how that would fall straight through, because you're telling these guys now that they can get paid, but now you want to pretty much renege and go back and not pay them because they can't stay 4 years in college.
Paid. The higher priced guys who are getting $5-6 million a year, you multiply it by 40, and you're more than set for life at that point if you stay the 4 years.
Look, these things are going to get more and more solid contract language, right? And Jack may be right that in some cases it might be you're staying here 4 years to get this amount of money, and if you don't stay, I don't pay you. Or you can say, I'll pay you for 1 year, James, or I'll pay you for 2 years. I think it's going to come down to contract language.
You're going to have a huge, then you're going to need a collective bargaining agreement in college.
It's going to come to that anyway.
No, I'm just saying, my point is, but to hold somebody, yes, how are you going to hold somebody to stay in for $6 or $7 million? I hear what Jack is saying, but where are you going to get that money from to pay them all that money to pay them in college versus what the NBA can pay them?
It works that way in other fields. One of my son-in-laws is a doctor, a doctor to be medical school finishing up. To go to a certain hospital in location, he has to sign a deal to be there for 3 years. He gets a bonus. He's got to play it out that amount of time. And that's what it's got to be in college. Look, the kid goes to college, doesn't have to sign anything. He could leave whenever he wants. He just doesn't get paid. But if you want the money, you have to work out the deal. You can leave whenever the heck you want if you're good enough to go to the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. Leave whenever the heck you want. You'll get the money elsewhere.
Yeah, I guarantee you, Jack, just what you just said, if that were to happen, the marquee players will leave. Because they're going to get far more money in the NBA.
Not if they like school enough.
They don't like Flag. Let's go back to him. Let's go back to Flag last year. What did Flag do? He was the best player in college basketball. He stayed 1 year. One year.
I could point a case. Matt Leinart took a ping pong class to stay in college, longer.
It's about numbers, Jack. It's about numbers. What can I do for my family? What can I do for myself? If the NBA is offering me 3 to 4 times more money starting off when I get in there,
that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Most of them are going to do that.
But they'll leave anyway under the system.
That's what I'm saying. Why have the system is what I'm saying. If they're going to leave regardless.
Going by college football, comparing it to NFL football, the contracts are going to probably start getting to be just like NFL contracts, where if they tell you to stay there or they ask you to stay there for 4 years, yes, you're going to get a set amount of salary, but you're going to get incentives for staying off 4 years. So they'll say player A, you're going to get for 4 years, you're going to give $40 million, but the only guaranteed part of it is 20 because I want you to stay the rest of the 4 years so you can get the rest of the 20.
You don't understand Gen Z then. Gen Z does not want to stay 2 minutes or 2 seconds in front of a TikTok. They want to go to the next video. I'm just saying there's no way anybody's going to stay 4 years.
Because if the law applies to contracts, they got no choice but to adhere to the contracts.
They got to agree to it, though. They got to agree to it. You're not going to have a business then. Because most of them are not going to, I'm telling you, they're not going to agree to that.
College is going to have a business because it's a college.
I'm just saying, I'm telling you, 4 years, you cannot have 4 years for the type of people, the mindset of the kids that are coming out. It's not going to work. I'm just telling you, it's not going to work. You're telling somebody that they can't leave 3 years or they could turn them. I guarantee you, most of them will leave and leave that money there. And they will not stay 4 years.
They always used to stay 4 years without a thought. Everyone did.
We can't even get rid of some of them.
That's different. You're talking about a different era. I'm telling you, these young kids will not do. There's no patience for that. They leave now. What do you think what they're doing right now? You trying to hold them for 4 years? You need to pay them X amount of money there. You need to up the money in order to do that. And I don't think that the NCAA is going to do that. Where are you going to get all that money from? To hold people, to tell them that they can't go to the next level that pays them way more money? You want to hold them hostage?
The
Come on, man.
NFL's rookie contract
Some of these guys are making
less
more
than
in
what
college.
some of them make in college.
Some of them are, yes, and they're going to stay. Those are ones they're staying now without an agreement. But those marquee players,
You're having a hard time with quarterbacks and wide receivers. I can tell you that right now. But
for sure.
But
Yes, there are a lot of guys that aren't the best at being at their job that are going to stay because they know they're not going to get the money when they get to the next level. Those guys are going to stay for sure.
what are they going to do if they put those rules in that you have? By the way, the NFL can stop this easily by saying we're not taking anybody who hasn't stayed in school 3 years or 4 years. We had these rules in the past. The NFL could stop it tomorrow.
And there ain't no way Generation Z is going to stop that.
Right. Well,
if the NFL makes that rule, you got to adhere by it.
And the NFL is not going to make that rule.
No, because
I'm telling you right now. The way things are going right now, the way the business model is, the amount of money, because these kids, they're so-called woke, all this kind of stuff. I'm telling you, it will not work. I'm telling you, the way the NFL thinks, they're already thinking ahead of what we're thinking. They're already looking 20 years down the line where things are going. You don't be a big business model like that without projecting what way things are going to go and understanding who you use as your business model and understanding the psyche of those kids that are playing. Come on. Why do you think the NFL is lighting up on all this stuff? They're not trying to make it worse for the kids. They're trying to make everything better because they know that's their brand. That's their brand. I mean, it's too many things that the NFL is doing to say that it's not the way we used to watch. It's not the same game we used to watch. I mean, flag football. What year a long time ago which we have accepted flag football, but it's now a part of the game. It's just different. Is what I'm telling you.
One thing I'll disagree with there. The NFL doesn't care about these kids even a little bit. So please don't throw that part in.
No, I don't mean they care about them in regards to taking care of them. That's why I said they care about their brand. Okay. They care about the NFL cares about its brand. That's what I mean. In regards to how they're going to utilize these people. So they gotta look around and say, okay, I got to make sure that this is a part of my game. This is what we got. So we got to figure out a way to pretty much manipulate. And so I just think 4 years, it's ridiculous to try to lock people in. It's just not going to work.
Well, it's going to eventually come up to that point. I'm not saying it's going to be a 4-year contract. It's going to be basically an NFL contract saying that you can stay here for 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever the contract stipulates. And then if you don't stay those years, you don't get the guarantee. You don't get.
I agree with that. I agree that there should be contract. If we can go a few shows back, I've been the one that said this, that it should be a 2-year contract. I mean, or so. But 4 years? Nobody's staying 4 years, man, unless you're the sorriest player that's there that needs the money. I guarantee you no marquee player is going to stay 4 years in college when they can get, if they know their value is, especially with agents, come on. They're going to tell them to leave.
Jack's best quarterback to come out of the draft in 10 years keeps suing the NCAA to stay in school. Trinidad Chambliss,
There you go. That's the evidence right there. I mean, he wants to stay in school, and he's racking the money up.
Well, Jack is going to die on that hill. I'm telling you right now. All right, let's the remaining few minutes we have left in the show. Let's get to the NBA. OKC reaches 50 wins as they beat the Golden State Warriors 104-97. First 50 win team. I mean, it's not significant because, we can go back and go to every season and say, oh, okay, this team hit 50 wins. But OKC is on that pace right now. I still think they're the best team in the NBA with San Antonio right behind them.
Right. Yeah.
So that's significant for them. And of course, I'm going to bring this up because, James had to jump on it earlier. The Pistons are, do I think they're in trouble? No, it's just it's a slow. You have these points in the season where you're not playing your best basketball. Those things happen. I mean, I know. Jack is going to jump on there. Hey, the Brooklyn Nets, yeah, great, yeah. You better cherish that win. Cherish that win.
I know Kate Cunningham was out, but you have a 23-point lead in the second half against the Nets, and you lose that game.
I'm not
worried. But I just want to make a comment. You said OKC and San Antonio. It's funny we talk about teams' windows, and OKC's window as NBA champions going forward is this season. Because by next year, San Antonio is going to get better. And San Antonio might beat them this year. So, OKC might be one championship and done in this era with SGA. Keep that in mind, because San Antonio is coming. They're just going to get better. Unless Wemby gets injured, I don't see anyone holding San Antonio off in the next few years. I mean, maybe the next 4 or 5 years they won't win consecutive titles, but they're the next Golden State Warrior type team, having that type of run.
Yeah, and to add on to all this, what you're talking about, Jack, Jason Tatum has come back for the Boston Celtics.
Huge.
Does everybody think that Boston Celtics are now the perennial winner of the Eastern?
No, 4 teams: that the Cavaliers, Knicks, Celtics, Pistons. The Knicks match up poorly against the Pistons, but the Cavaliers and Celtics are capable of beating the Pistons. So if one of them beats the Pistons in the playoffs, the Knicks would have beaten Boston last year with Tatum. They were beating them during the series when Tatum got hurt. Keep that in mind.
If we look at this like a trade deadline move, the Boston Celtics had the best player addition at the trade deadline. It certainly sets them up to have a better chance to compete or win the East. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, though, that they will.
Excellent point. But they have drastically improved defensively. They hadn't really lost anything, and Jaylen Brown stepped up. As a matter of fact, there might be a question. There has been a question as to whether or not chemistry will be their undoing, because how well they were doing with just Jaylen Brown and Derek White and Jason Tatum coming in mixing it up. But I think I disagree with that take when I read that. I think having Jason Tatum come back is going to only be better for them, particularly in the playoffs.
But guys, James Harden, I know he's been with the Cavaliers a while now. You can't underestimate his impact. I mean, he could be the guy who gets him over the top. And Harden's never won an NBA championship.
So why do we think
he's going to be locked in for these playoffs?
He's been the guy to get a bunch of teams over the top and hasn't gotten any of them over the top. So I really don't.
He played poorly in the postseason, but he's due to turn it around.
That's where you win.
Mitchell, Jared Allen, Mobley. I mean, they've got the team.
I think that might be the help for him, because the teams that he's been on, there's never been really good defensive players like that, like Jared Allen and Moby Dick. I would say he's got a whale of a defense, right? So with that said, I would say that they've been 8-1. They've been 8-1 since he's been there. So right now Cleveland is on a tear. So they have a really good opportunity. Like you said, there's 4 teams. I like the Knicks, I like Detroit, I like Boston, and I like Cleveland to be the front runners there in the Eastern Conference. And as to whether or not any of these teams can take down any of the teams in the West, that's a whole nother discussion. With that said, I really like I like Cleveland. I know we had that discussion yesterday where LeBron could possibly go if he once he leaves LA potentially. There's probably some team in the East. Any one of those 4 teams, I think he would thrive in. I said Cleveland because it was the favorite thing, because it's hometown discount. And it's a really beautiful story. But he can go to the Knicks. He can go to Detroit. I think all those teams would be great additions. I mean, he'd be a great addition to all 4 of those teams. But with that said, going back to James Harden, I think he's been great for them. It's just to be determined as to how well they do in the playoffs with him.
So he plays badly in the postseason. The team historically plays badly in the postseason, but they're legitimate title contenders. I have trouble putting them together.
No, I'm not. You're right. I agree with you. I'm not going to put title contenders in their mouth. I just think that they have what Jack said. I'm just going to say they have a really good opportunity to make a run in the playoffs because of how they're constructed right now.
Yeah, and out of those 3 teams the Pistons have played, Yeah, we're not even talking about the Knicks because they destroy the Knicks all the time. But Cleveland and Boston seem to be – they played them very competitively. In fact, I don't think they've lost – they beat Boston 2 out of 3 times so far, but all those games have been like 2 3-point games. Cleveland, they have a hard time with Cleveland playing them. I think they're even, and their record's like 2-2 or something like that. So it's going to be hard for – the Eastern Conference is going to be – really competitive in the playoffs. I just don't think it's going to be competitive in
the Eastern Conference winner can win the NBA championship, and this is the clearest path. If the Minnesota Timberwolves come out of the West, then they have a chance. The Timberwolves have a chance to finally put it together. They've been to the conference final the last couple of years. They're good enough with Anthony Edwards, Gobert, Randall, DiVincenzo, etc. They finally get to the finals. They're beatable by any of those teams we talked about in the East.
Well, I mean, them, yeah. But, are they going to have a legit – do you think they're going to be in the NBA Finals?
The Wolves are good enough to get there. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they will. They are good enough to get to the finals.
I mean, we can say that about any team in the West, but I'm just saying, the realism of the situation. Only 2 teams they got to jump over, and that's OKC and San Antonio.
They got an outstanding defensive center, rim protecting Gobert. If Anthony Edwards plays like a superstar, and he's certainly capable of doing that, and they got the other parts, they got the supporting cast and Randall, etc.
Gobert's another guy who historically doesn't show up in big games either.
But. Minnesota.
Oh, man.
And you act like OKC doesn't have defense. You act like San Antonio don't have defense.
He's just so negative. Then you talk about the Knicks, you'll say Karl Anthony Towns never shows up.
Negative.
You talk about all the guys who don't put out.
He's just telling the truth.
Who he says doesn't put out.
Just putting out a fact out there. It's not negative necessarily. Listen, I'll tell you the team. Don't count out Denver in the West because Denver's still really good, and Jokic is still one of the top 5 players in the game. And they've still got a pretty good top big 3 there.
The the Denver Nuggets are like the Detroit Lions of the NFL. The window's kind of closing on them, like very slowly going down.
Shots are fired. Yeah,
it's always a little.
Little dig, right?
I can't argue with that because the Lions are not showing anything that they're going to be doing anything this year either. So until they show me something in the trades or show me something in the draft, I got to agree with Jack on that one because they're not – you trade Montgomery for no reason apparent because he just wants some more carries. There's a problem. That's a problem with the front office to me. I'm sorry. Monty is a good – he could be a starting running back on most of the 32 teams in the NFL. So I don't understand why you would sit there and trade a guy who has 1 year left on his contract and you're not even paying that much for that 1 year. You could let him go in free agency next year. And just, let him play the year out and put him in the system where the running game is good for him. Whatever. Jack, I can't even argue with Jack. That's all I got to say.
Can't argue with Jack.
Yeah, can't argue with Jack on that point.
I can.
On that point.
That point.
But on that point, I'm not talking about any other points that you guys got mixed up with it. But anyway, this will conclude our show. Do catch Keith in just a couple of minutes on his Stream of Consciousness show that's coming up here. And everybody have a very good Sunday. We'll see you soon, 8 o'clock next week, a.m. Everybody have a good day.